All right, Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly in other news saying on Sunday that marijuana was, quote, not a factor in the war on drugs, striking a dramatically different tone, obviously, than what we've heard from Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who is a vocal opponent of relaxing laws when it comes to marijuana. So joining us now to discuss is Garyn Angel, CEO of Magical Butter, a company making edible cannabis appliances, and Emily Cegielski, Director of Digital Media at Times Magazine. So, Emily, we're going to kick it off with you. I mean, you know, presumably the AG, Jeff Sessions, has a little bit more weight here than the Department of Homeland Security, but what do you make of these comments?
I mean, I think they're a great start as far as comments go, obviously. I mean, the fact of the matter is pot does have something to do with the war on drugs. There are still people in jail for simple possession of marijuana. And saying that it's not a factor is just false. It's something that you can't sweep under the rug. At this point, it's something that needs to be addressed. Although, compared to statements by Jeff Sessions, obviously it sounds like good news.
Okay, so when it comes to legalization, I mean, we've debated as to whether or not we could someday see it happen on a federal level, but we've even had experts on here saying that it would probably make more sense to roll it out, even from a business perspective. I mean, proponents of cannabis itself to start rolling it out on a state perspective. Garyn, let's toss it over to you now. I mean, do you take these comments? Do you think the industry takes these comments in stride and can find a way to leverage them, maybe to get it legalized in more places?
I think what he said was very accurate in his approach. It's the way that politicians need to approach it. We've went after the supply side of drugs for many years, and it's been failed. He wants to approach it from the demand side. He has no objection towards medical cannabis. And I think the difference between once people start to understand that this doesn't have to be medicine, it should be preventative. And maybe that's the channel that it needs to come through for everybody to be okay with the fact that this is just a vegetable and we've treated this completely the wrong way for 80 years now.
You know, when we look at this administration, everything seems to come from the top down, and it's a pro-business administration. Do either of you have a sense of President Trump or Jared Kushner or Steve Bannon's position on marijuana is from the enterprise perspective?
I feel that Trump has made it very clear that small business is what's important and a key driver of the economy. There's no bigger small business boom than in the cannabis industry today. You can't bottleneck that. What we need to do is create these funnels where this is one silo. We found a way to create a whole new economy in the cannabis industry. Now let's take what we learned from this and just keep building silos of new economies. And I'm hoping that's Trump's stance, and I think his staff and cabinet are intelligent enough that they'll advise him that this is the new economy and let's support it.
Okay, Emily, well, certainly maybe we'll wait to see how many jobs it would create, and maybe Trump will use that maybe kind of as a something in his back pocket, of course, when we see what happens with the job market going forward.
Do you feel like it would have been different under Secretary Clinton? Just being more on the liberal Democrat side, the recognition of the criminalization had so negatively affected certain racial groups versus others. Do you feel like it would have been different under Clinton than it is under Trump right now?
Oh, definitely. I think Hillary made it pretty clear that she was for states' rights on this issue, and she supported medical marijuana. And I don't necessarily think she would have gone further into like descheduling the plants, but I don't think she would be surrounding herself with such pot-hating advisors like Trump, for sure.
Okay, quickly, Garyn, too. I mean, look, maybe this is a feather in the cap here for the cannabis industry, but another big one is Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, recently introducing a bill to legalize marijuana. Of course, we know that the rules there, generally speaking, have been a little bit more lax, or I guess at least ahead of those here in the U.S. And so is there a way to also use that, I guess, to affect the United States? And again, I think about this too, just generally speaking. I mean, we have 420 coming up. Is there some sort of broader campaign that goes on, taking together these recent comments by some of these high officials here in the U.S. and in Canada to push through what you're trying to do with your industry?
100%. Canada Day 2018 is going to be incredible. recreational cannabis will finally be allowed for our neighbors to the north. Typically, when good governments start to make good decisions, you see it follow around the world. And Justin has definitely done that in Canada. He's setting the stage for the rest of the global geopolitical landscape to follow. I expect that cannabis should be legal. It should be legal now. And as more and more countries start to realize this is a benefit to the economy and healthcare and preventative, it's going to happen. We're knocking on the door, and we're not going to stop knocking. The knock just gets louder.
All right, Garyn Angel of Magical Butter and Emily Cegielski of High Times Magazine, thank you both for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.